Jones. All right. Our next performer, Cristen Conger. Cristen Conger is a practicing Beysexual and member of the Beyonce Cult of Knowledge. In her spare time, she's the co-creator and co-host of the podcast and YouTube channel Stuff Mom Never Told You. Its mission is to subliminally educate the world about who runs the world. And we all know, yeah. It's in parentheses in case I forgot, so other goal is to spread the gospel of Solange. By the way, I also want to say she added an asterisk to let me know what a Beysexual is, just in case I was not familiar, which I wasn't. It means you're straight, but if Beyonce ever texted you a scissors emoji, or maybe the lips and donut emoji if you're feeling real spicy, well, we all know what happens after that. On this next song, on vocals, we got Nicole Moody. Everyone, please give it up. Drunk in Love.
I've been drinking. I get guilty when I make her get into me. I've been thinking. Why can't I keep my fingers off it, baby? I want you, Why can't I keep my fingers off it, baby? I want you, Cigars are nice, feel like an animal with his cameras all in my room. Flashing lights, you got me baby, I want you, can't keep your eyes off my daddy, I want you, drunk in love, I want you. We woke up in the kitchen saying, how the hell did this shit happen overnight? Drunk in love, we were all night. Next thing I remember is our beautiful bodies grinding over like love. Drunk in love, we'd be all night. Love, we'd be all night. Love. Surfboard.
So I think I just came out to my fiance as a Beysexual. I love you, but you know the drill now. If that happens, it's cool. You can come. More ways than one. All right. When we open our Bibles to the Gospel according to Beyonce, chapter 3, verse 2, we arrive at one of the greatest philosophical questions ever Googled. What is surfboard? Maybe that's just how Beyonce pronounces surfboard when she's drunk in love and tub fucking. Maybe she bit her tongue in the recording studio and board came out bort. Or maybe, as some Bayologians have proposed, what surfboard is the holy trinity of divine forces, sex, science, and salvation that makes her our irreplaceable Lord and Savior, Beyonce Knowles. So let us explore divine force number 1, the carnal. Put plainly, surfboard is banging, or bumping uglies, or getting your tub fuck on, whatever you prefer to call it. Now, since I was born in 1984, BDC, before Destiny's Child, I learned about the surfboard and the bees thanks to a judgy Christian paperback called Almost 12. One evening when I was, well, almost 12, my mother sat me down and showed me its line drawings of naked men and women in the stomach-churning stages of fetal development. And based on what I could gather from the deceptively undetailed illustrations, dads have a skin flap that rests on top of another skin flap that occasionally burrows inside of a squiggly ink blot on mom's panty regions. And it was out of that gruesome exchange, apparently, that I arrived in the world. It's called intercourse, my mom explained as I recoiled. Do you have any questions? Could you tell me more about the stick figure lady's lap wig? I wanted to ask, but refrained. At that moment, I knew I couldn't handle the truth. Luckily, though, for Blue Ivy, the quite possibly immaculate Jesus child to Beyonce and Jay-Z's Mary and Joseph, she won't have to sit through an uncomfortable reading of Almost 12 when it comes time for her to learn about skin flaps and lap wigs. Praise Beyonce, all she'll have to do is watch the video for Drunken Love, and all the details of her alleged conception shall be revealed right down to the fatty that daddy couldn't keep his eyes off of. It's called surfboarding, Beyonce will explain to Blue Ivy. Do you have any questions? What's a fatty? Blue Ivy might innocently inquire. Oh, I think that's actually enough for one day, Beyonce will chuckle. Run off now and go read your Babel. Of course it's tempting now, dear babevangelicals, to get all twitchy about this prurient exterior layer of surfboard wax, but we must heed the words of Beyonce when she tells us, I'm rubbing on it, rubbin', if you're scared, call that reverend. And this reverend is urging you to look beyond the physical to the physics-cul, wherein what surfboard is divine force number 2, science. What many people don't realize about Drunken Love is that it also doubles as a lesson on Newton's laws of motion, cleverly masked with catchy hooks and raps. A conjunction junction for the physics classroom, if you will. See, according to the laws of physics, a surfboard's ability to float is called its buoyancy, or rather, buoyancy, and obviously, surfboards are hella buoyant. Now, in order to steer the surfboard, the rider simply shifts her center of gravity, and this is also colloquially known as graining on that wood. I repeat, graining on that wood. Now, bonus homework question. If one fills the tub up over halfway, will the surfboard capsize? Answer, it depends. If you're already feeling like an animal with the cameras all in your grill, you probably don't want to test those choppy waters. And there you have it, how surfboards work. Now, I have a feeling that for many of us sitting here trying to live our lives according to the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not make unto thee any unretouched images. Remember Beyonce's birthday and keep it holy. Thou shalt have no other Beyoncés before me, which I've got to be honest is kind of a confusing one. These secular and scientific forces leave us spiritually wanting. And that's because, friends and Believers, arguably the most important answer to what is surfboard is salvation. Fact. This is an actual fact. Seriously. In the 18th century, Christian missionaries to Hawaii banned surfboarding. And why? Because they were assholes. Native Polynesians surfed naked because it was hot. Exposed genitals didn't inherently suggest sex on the beach. And wearing wet clothes on dry land was considered a faux pas. Solution? Naked surfing. Then a bunch of white folks rolled in, saw naked men and women surfing together, and declared the pastime an evil and immoral activity that should be banned. Now, later on down the road, did Native Hawaiians revive this traditional pastime of their own accord and eventually turn surfboarding into a world-class sport? Yes. But is this historical tangent a giant metaphor for white folks' puritanical sex hang-ups? Yes. Because not long ago, as we all know, that's why we're here tonight, the Baypocalypse happened. Beyonce summoned her sassy alter ego, Yonsei, not to be confused with her former sassy alter ego, Sasha Fierce, to save us from our boring-ass banging by inventing the surfboard. Now, finally, any of us with access to a bathtub and a bottle of Douce can drunkenly make our own naked waves as the Polynesians intended and hang 10, or about 5.4 on average. And so I will leave you with this Babel verse from the Book of Destiny's Child, chapter Bootylicious. For Beyonce so loved Beyonce, she sent her only begotten Yonsei, that whosoever believeth in Bay should not perish, but have everlasting Beyonce. In the name of Beyonce, Solange, and Sasha Fierce, let us bay.
Stare so deep in your eyes, I touch on you more and more every time. When you leave, I'm begging you not to go. Call your name 2-3 times in a row.